Governor Dickson of Bayelsa State appears to have heeded to a public outcry as he declines assent to seeking lifetime pensions for former lawmakers from Bayelsa State. Confirming the decision in a statement, the State Commissioner for Information, Mr. Daniel Iworisol-Markson, says the governor conveyed his position in a letter to the Speaker of the State House of Assembly today. Governor Dickson says he had to withhold assent to the bill because the state was bedeviled with a lot of challenges. According to him, in spite of its low internally generated revenue base and unstable earnings from the oil economy, Bayelsa is the only one out of Nigeria's 36 states to come up with such a bill. The bill, earlier proposed by the leader of the Bayelsa State House of Assembly, Pt.1, and passed by the House, had attracted a rash of public criticism.
That backlog of gratuity, pensions, and other matters have never been dealt with for the past years. We strongly condemn how the bill was passed.
We are seeing anti-people bill because they have seen that this money that they say is not available is available. The 13% is available for them to do anyhow. And that is why greed and moral bankruptcy has led them to this very shameful and embarrassing level of passing this bill.
Meanwhile, pensioners from federal parastatals and the private sector are asking the federal government to pay the outstanding arrears of all pensioners in the country. The pensioners, under the aegis of Federal Parastatals and Private Sector Pensioners Association of Nigeria, addressed a news conference in Abuja. The acting president of the association, Mr. Temple Ubani, appealed to the government to save the lives of pensioners by enrolling them into the National Health Insurance Scheme.
We appreciate the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, PTAD, for a sanitized pension regime, improved welfare of pensioners, and prompt payment of monthly pensions. We commend their efforts on the ongoing national verification of federal parastatals pensioners across the zones of the country and urge them to sustain the tempo. We are equally calling on members, parastatal pensioners nationwide, to cooperate with PTAD verification officials for smooth and successful exercise. However, we plead with the federal government to ensure that all prevailing challenges of pensioners, including the payment of outstanding pension arrears, 33% pension increase arrears of some of our members, and importantly, enrollment of all pensioners into the National Health Insurance Scheme.
State governors, both re-elected and newly elected, have been challenged to boost internally generated revenue as well as value-added tax in order to address poverty, illiteracy, malnutrition, and out-of-school children in their states. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who made this call during an induction ceremony at the State House, announced that the National Economic Council will consider new ways of effectively addressing security challenges. Our correspondent, Gloria Umezoke, reports.
Outgoing governors, re-elected and incoming, converge on the banquet hall of the State House.
So we're really asking that
the Senate President, ministers, heads of government parastatals, members of the diplomatic corps and development partners are also here as the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and entourage walk in for the induction of new and returning governors.
At a special induction program organized by Nigeria Governors Forum,
the chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, Governor Abdulaziz Yari, listed areas of focus while he warned of a possible recession.
There is still the need for states to work harder to boost their internally generated revenue to enable them execute more projects and developments and reduce over-dependence on the federation as the means of promoting the social well-being of their people.
Nigeria spends less on health proportionately than South Sudan.
Development partners took turns to spell the challenges and advise the governors on steps to take.
Economic success will be achieved by harnessing the potential of that population. We will need to invest in the people who will drive the economy of this country in the future. Because by 2050, the children born yesterday, today, tomorrow, this week and next week will be the economic workforce on whom this country depends.
Other speakers, without mincing words, confronted the issues that hinder nation building.
You have the power of the state. You have the resources of the state. And get more, if you gain the trust of the people, they'll pay more taxes. And you have the opportunity from this moment to build that legacy by the things you do every day.
There are so many people who are hemorrhaging, who are hurting in this country. They don't see a reflection of themselves in Nigeria. And it's not just the economic inequalities. There is also the feeling of exclusion. Most of it is what we see in the violence that attends our election.
Yemi Oshibajo.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, however, lists human development and security as major targets that must be met.
States must, in the next few years, simply earn more IGR. We must effectively collect VAT and increase even agricultural output. We must work with the federal government to make broadband infrastructure available all over the country, so our young people anywhere in the country can do the jobs from anywhere in the world.
As the first day of the induction wraps up, the presidency makes it clear that the present administration is ready to support an all-party cooperation. After all said, this is apparently a fresh and second-term opportunity for the governors to call for action and invest in states to accomplish more significant development for all Nigerians. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, labour unions in the country are seeking to draw the attention of the government on the need to create more jobs. This was the purpose of a walk staged today in the Federal Capital Territory by the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress today, tagged March for Jobs. The unions also called on all employers of labour to pay the new national minimum wage as approved by President Muhammadu Buhari. Our correspondent, Terry Ikumi, reports.
It is just past 8 o'clock in the morning of the first working day of the week in the nation's capital, and labor unions have gathered at the headquarters of the Nigeria Labour Congress, preparing to take to the streets of Abuja. This walk, tagged March for Decent Jobs, Dignity and Social Justice in Nigeria, is basically to prompt government and employers of labor to implement the new minimum wage and improve infrastructure for mass job creation.
We call on government to rehabilitate public roads, power supply, railway, inland waterway, schools, and hospitals as enabling infrastructure for mass industrialization and mass job. We call on all employers of labor to quickly commence the implementation of the new national minimum wage of 30,000 naira.
Then the march begins. The workers sing solidarity songs through the streets of the nation's capital, assisted by the police and the Federal Road Safety Corps. The labor union says it was not surprised when Nigeria was named the poverty capital of the world last year, expressing concerns about the state of the nation's public schools and healthcare institutions, and vows to continue its campaigns against anti-workers' policies and practices. To employers who dehumanize workers and rob them of their rights, the NLC says in clear terms, "We will dare you, we will win." Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
Now to law enforcement. The police in Ondo State have arrested Deji Adenuga, the man who allegedly set ablaze 9 members of his estranged girlfriend's family in Ibodigo in Okitipupa local government area. Adenuga's arrest was confirmed today by the Public Relations Officer of the command, Mr. Femi Joseph, in Akure, the state capital. He says the suspect was arrested under the bridge along Lagos-Benin Expressway in Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State. Adenuga is said to be one of the inmates who escaped from the Olokuta prison in Akure during a jailbreak in 2013. He has been on the run since Tuesday, April 22nd, after he allegedly broke into the home of his girlfriend following a dispute, drenched the sleeping family with petrol, and set them on fire. All 9 victims eventually died after sustaining severe burns. And while the long arm of the law has also caught up with some suspects responsible for crimes across Anambra State, the police command in the southeastern state has announced the capture of Mr. Chibo Anyegbu, the man who allegedly murdered the President General of the Nimo community. Another suspect has also been arrested for the abduction and eventual murder of the father of former player of the Super Eagles, Chikeluo Iluanyisi, in 2014. Parading both men at the headquarters of the police command in Awka, the state capital, the Commissioner of Police, Mustafa Dandaura, told reporters everything will be done within the law to make the state safe for residents.
The Anambra State Police Command bubbles with activities following another successful security operation. The State Commissioner of Police, Mustafa Dandora, in this news conference announces that the manhunt for the killers of the President General of Nimo community has yielded result with the arrest of the mastermind.
One of the kingpin, by name Chibo Anyegbu, aka Transformer, was arrested. During the interrogation, the suspect confessed and mentioned 3 other gang members who were involved in the murder of the PG.
The police also confirms the capture of the man who abducted and allegedly killed the father of former Super Eagles player Chikeluo Iluanyisi, a crime the suspect denies.
I didn't kidnap anybody. My father is a native doctor. I'm a native doctor. I did follow my father. So I didn't kill anybody.
This guy, when they arrested him, he jumped from upstairs and everything, and he ran away. We did not see anything about it, but we have mounted surveillance on him and everything, because we say we must not rest, because he is the one that is living in our village, Abagana, will give us the information on who sent them and whatever and whatever.
About 25 suspected cultists and armed robbery suspects were also on parade at the Anambra Police Headquarters. In addition to this, several wraps of cannabis, 2 AK-47 rifles, and other ammunitions were recovered from the suspects.
We have what it takes.
Governor Willie Obiano gives a thumbs up for all the security agencies in the state and says everything will be done to make Anambra State a safe haven.
We have what it takes, the equipment to discover and detect any form of criminality anywhere. When I made that promise on Easter Monday, I was not boasting. And I also want to reassure anybody that helps us in this arrest. There's another bounty of 5 million per head. So if you help us to arrest smart, you earn 5 million.
The governor then announces the launch of Phase 2 of Operation Pachapu, which he believes will rid the state of crime.